Hello, I am Natalie Kunsman, MD, and today we are talking about the Wuhan coronavirus. And first of all, we need to de-escalate the fear and the hysteria right now, since this doesn't seem to be as virulent as many other viruses that we know to date. Now, let's get into the science. So, viruses are intracellular, so they need our cells to survive. And they are classified by the mechanism in which they replicate. So, as a reminder, they will be in our cell and in our nucleus. There are two divisions of the viruses. The first division is DNA viruses, so I'm going to name them HepaDNA, herpes, pox, parv, adeno, papillo, and poly. So the second division of viruses in our classification system are the RNA viruses. So they are Rhea, Hepi, Kalichi, Picorna, Orthomyxo, Rhabdo, Paramyxo, Delta, Arena, Bunya, Philo. And this is where Ebola was classified in the filovirus. Toga, Flavi, which is actually the Zika virus and its classification. Then we have the retrovirus and our new virus of interest, the coronavirus. Now, many of these viruses are given their names based upon what they look like. So the coronavirus or coronaviruses look like a crown. Corona has some very common viruses within that category that we know and we have heard of before, and the biggest one is the common cold. There is also SARS, MERS, which was the Middle Eastern respiratory virus, and now currently we are calling it the 2019 novel virus, and that's basically because it is not fully elucidated and we don't have a frank full name for what it is and its true classification. So, I'll also explain just a little bit of the microbiology. This virus is enveloped, so there's a layer surrounding it. It is single-stranded linear, so it's like a straight line. And then it's got a helical capsid, which is the protein shell that surrounds it. Now, coronaviruses have been identified and discovered as far back as the 1960s, and that began with the common cold elucidation. Now, flashing forward, we had SARS virus in the early 2000s, and there were a few in between. Then we had MERS in 2012, and now our newest, and again, it's loosely titled the Wuhan coronavirus. So, here is what we know. It represents itself or presents itself as primarily a respiratory batch of symptoms with fevers and chills and aches and a cough and a pneumonia-like picture for many people. Now, December 31st, we had December 31st of 2019, so only several weeks ago, we had the first few cases. Now, we still cannot identify the initial source. But let me also say, we also do not believe it is a global health emergency. So the World Health Organization is not classifying it as such at this time. So we believe it can possibly be spread from human to human, but also a big possibility is that it can host in an animal, since the first cases have been tied to a marketplace in China where there were several live animals there, and even somewhere in there we think maybe snakes are part of the etiology. So, to date, there are 830 cases that were found, and now they're spread over a few countries. 25 people have died. Now, I may also want to say only 25 people have died. And the reason I say that is 30 to 40,000 people die yearly from influenza. Now, almost 50,000 people die from HIV per year. Now, keeping all this in mind about the viruses that kill us, car accidents double that, and heart disease has almost 1 million deaths per year. So 25 cases thus far versus thousands of cases. So far, we don't think it's that virulent of a strain. Now, I have to say there has been very swift identification, and kudos really should be given to our scientists that have nailed down what we know so far. There are some containment procedures that are being in place from those people who are leaving the Wuhan area in China, where they can be processed in only several airports. So far, there are no travel bans for flying otherwise. Now, as a reminder, most deaths that we see with respiratory viruses will happen because of a compromised immune system or a compromised host. So some of that compromise can actually be somebody that's got lung problems or poor respiratory systems. So basically what I'm saying is intact immunity will fight this off. So please, please, please do not panic. However, there are some basic precautions that we would use for many other infectious disease controls, which is wash your hands, cover your mouth, avoid close contact. Now, some people may say if you're traveling, you may want to put on a mask. Seek medical care. Avoid direct contact with live animals and avoid consumption of raw animal products. So again, I am saying please do not panic, but be smart and be cautious. This is what we know so far. Again, I'm Natalie Kunsman, MD. Please subscribe to my channel below. And until we meet again, be well.